the people that have given, that have stuck with us through the years, have believed in us, and have made this possible. But I promise you that I will work hard to make sure that you get the news that you need, making sure whenever we have guests, they're worth having. And it's good stuff, and it's planned out so that way you have an experience worth actually listening to. There's so many shows out there, I tell you, they're just a bunch of hot air, just exposing themselves. Now, there are some good talk shows out there, but unfortunately, there's so many of them that have clogged up the airwaves that it's just disgusting. It's self-grandizing, and it's really not making a difference. And that's something that I really want to do each and every broadcast, is to be able to make some kind of difference during the broadcast. So we appreciate you. This is a special broadcast mixed with some relevant news of the day. Also, to please encourage you to be able to give. We're trying to get back on the air, onto the radio stations that we were on, and on a regular daily podcast of at least an hour to start off with, and then a 2-hour show, but Monday through Friday. And the time will be announced for stations that are listening right now and keeping tabs, or news media that's been monitoring our progress. Please share on social media on every account that you might have. You can do it anonymously. You can do it through instant message. You can just do it to your friends. But any way that you can get the word out and say, is there something that you can contribute? Maybe it's $5. And believe me, if we get enough $5, that adds up. And if you give in $5, don't feel bad. Just give what you can. And if we all do our lifting, I am telling you, it'll be no time. We'll be back on full time. So it'll be a beautiful thing. All right. I mentioned Senator Cory Booker. He's a New Jersey Democrat, and he's running for president in 2020. And he's accusing America's founders of writing bigotries into the very fabric of our Constitution. The founders were imperfect. This is what he says. Geniuses, he said. They wrote a lot of our bigotries in the Constitution. And if you think about how we have overcome those things, it's always been by creating first calls to consciousness, speaking truth about the injustices, and then bringing together those uncommon coalitions. Booker added, "We are a nation of conscience, and I found partners on the other side of the aisle who agree with me on these issues, and we can build from there. In fact, when I first came to the Senate, people laughed. I had people telling me there's no way you're going to get a comprehensive criminal justice reform bill done." The Washington Free Beacon noted it was unclear what Booker was specifically referring to when he used the term bigotries. A Free Beacon request for comment was not immediately returned, from we understand from that source. That's the other thing. We share our sources, so you can actually do your homework and find it out where we're talking about, rather than saying we're making up the news so there's fake news. No, we make sure that we clarify and also give credit to where we get the news from. To me, that's important. So many shows just don't. They do it at the gospel truth that they themselves assembled the news, and we don't do that. An NBC poll has come out that Trump's base, his loyal base, is just 40%. And the question is, would they pick him in 2020? President Donald Trump has a strong shot at re-election in 2020 if the economy stays strong and Republicans stay loyal, according to pollsters who conducted a survey for NBC News and the Wall Street Journal. As long as these economic numbers look like this, that always keeps an incumbent president in the race, says Bill Montroff, a GOP pollster. 88% of Republicans approve of the job of the president. Trump is doing according to the poll, and 53% of Americans say they believe the United States will not be in a recession in the next year. Still, just 41% say they would vote for Trump in 2020, compared with 48% who said they would pick the Democrat who was the candidate. So far, 7 lawmakers have announced intentions to run for president, including Senator Cory Booker, as we just mentioned, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders and Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota. And Fred Yang, a Democrat pollster, said that once an official opponent is picked, though the race will change. And another lesson we painfully learned from 2016 is that the elections are a choice between candidates and not a referendum of one candidate, he said. So anyways, the NBC Wall Street Journal poll was conducted February 24th through the 27th among 720 registered voters, 247 Democratic primary voters, and 210 Republican primary voters. The base is strong, folks. The economy is strong, and he got it right. The economy is strong. The numbers are record-breaking. Minorities are working like never before. The Army, folks, usually was a meal ticket. It was a meal ticket. Military was a meal ticket. And now the Pentagon's released over $1 billion to give to Donald Trump out of the retirement fund. And how they can do that is that it's available because people are not joining the service because they have a job, folks. They have education. They're getting it. They're getting trained, on-the-job training, whatever it is, training programs. There's companies that will train you. You want to be an over-the-road truck driver. You want to learn how to do a trade. They'll take you in. There's training programs. Companies just need you. Go to work for Amazon. You're looking to make a few extra bucks, you can become a driver. You got to hustle, but there's money out there. The economy is roaring. It's a good time, and we've never seen it so robust. I really doubt that Donald Trump is going to be out in 2020. Dump Trump in 2020. I don't think so. It'll just be more charades. It'll be interesting to see who's going to go against Donald Trump, though. Crooked Hillary, she just said that she's not going to run, but it does look like Joe Biden. That's Joe. Remember the apologies constantly because of the choking that Obama would have to apologize. That's Joe. Remember the time where the guy was in the wheelchair and he goes, stand so everybody can see you. Stand. The guy's in the wheelchair. That's okay. We'll stand for you. That was his cover. Oh, my dear Lord. Joe Biden, listen, Joe Biden, I think he's a nice guy, but he's part of the party. Does it line up with your ideals? Does it line up with conservatism, true patriotism, rewriting the Constitution? Somebody should scold Cory Booker. We have come such a long way from the slavery days, folks. Such a long way. We got further race relationships to make, but I'm telling you, there's more billionaires, black, African-American, successful businessmen and women in this country than ever before. Tyler Perry has his own studios in Atlanta, Georgia. Tyler Perry Studios whipping out movies. He's decided to give up the Medea character, and I guess there's probably something new in the making. But you know, there's things happening. Eddie Murphy's made his own movies, by the way. Coming to America 2 is going to be a new movie that'll be coming out, I think, later next year sometime. Yeah, 2. I don't know if Arsenio Hall is going to be in it, but I'm sure he probably will be. But Eddie Murphy was a pioneer. Never built his own studios, but Tyler Perry did. And I was reading a little story about Tyler Perry, and a really neat story, that he was working at a Napa, and he was dreaming about Medea. How she would look, how she would sound, what she would do. And a lot of African Americans don't appreciate Medea because it's a stereotype of African Americans. And if you don't talk like that or act like that, it's offensive. And I can understand it that way. But a lot of people wickedly have been entertained by the character. Now, if you can just take it as a character and not a stereotype, it's fun. But I can see how it could be misconstrued as, you know, something that's not good to build up African Americans. I'll give you a case scenario. There was a guy named Alan Combs. He was president of A&M University. Alan Keyes, not Combs. Alan Combs is the white guy who was on Fox News, sadly passed away, and I've met many times at WMCA in New York. But Alan Keyes, president of A&M University, ambassador to the UN, but he was running for president back in the 90s, 95. And he wasn't the you know what Alan Keyes looked like, but he wasn't the very, sexy guy. Wasn't sexy, but he was very articulate. And African Americans in Memphis said that he was nothing more than a black man with a white man suit. Now, he didn't talk like Obama. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's stand up, man. We're going to have a good time. He wasn't as articulate, but very smart and just different delivery system. They didn't receive him. Now, he's a lot darker than Obama. I don't know if that has something, Obama's speech, his etiquette, how he, conducts himself. I mean, noted. The man can give a speech. There's no doubt about it. Obama was very good. Trump could use some coaching in that respect, in my opinion, from George Clooney that actually did help Obama with a lot of the ways that he addresses audiences and gives speeches. Believe it or not, George Clooney did give a lot of professional advice to Obama. But Obama's a lawyer, he could speak. When he would show up at the Senate in Illinois, he sounded articulate. And that's very important. You don't want to sound ghetto fabulous when you're on the stump. Keyes didn't sound that way, but he wasn't flashy. He did not have that he didn't have that charisma. And man, did Barack Obama have that charisma. You remember that election? A lot of people want to forget it. But it electrified America, and I said it was an opportunity to really unify America in so many different ways, and he did not take advantage of uniting the races. It was race baiting, and if my son was like this, and you remember all the Trayvon Martin, and if he would look like him. And it's just, it really just marginalized so much. It still does in so many different ways, and I have so many friends that are African Americans, and we have this conversation, and they agree. Educated African Americans understand it. Uneducated don't understand it. They just feel like, well, if you're not for us, you're against us. I'm like, how am I not for you? That's a conversation in itself, too. If you're Trump and you're a Trump supporter, you hate minorities. And it's just the end of the story. You can't even have a conversation at that, and they don't even want to hear it. That's just like sharing your conservative values with somebody that doesn't, is a Democrat, doesn't want to hear it. And by the way, there are a lot more Democrats out there that listen to our broadcast that do have conservative bones in their body. It depends on the issue that you're talking about, and that's the same thing with moderates, Tea Party, you name it. It just depends on the issues that we're talking. And we talk a lot of things on For the People. Water cooler discussion with common sense. Keith Allen, For the People. We need your help today more than ever. We're trying to get back on the air. $12,000 is our goal. We will do this once a year. It's a fundraiser, but this will help us relaunch For the People back onto stations nationwide. Need your help at GoFundMe.com right now. Please make a donation. Any amount will help. We appreciate it. You can see what people wrote about us today. You can read the write-ups that Megan Donaldson up in Michigan has written. She's running everything administratively up there, and she's a brainiac. She's super smart, and she's going to keep us on the books and keep us respectable, and we appreciate her so much. And please show your appreciation today of the broadcast and For the People. If you've not made a donation, please make one today at GoFundMe.com. Type in Keith Allen as in the search bar at GoFundMe. Keith, Keith, space, Allen, Alan, and then look for the For the People flag. You click on that, and that'll take you to our landing page right there. It's been a fun hour, and I can't wait until we'll be on 5 days a week, a regular time period. Can you imagine how relevant is that going to be? How fun is that going to be? We'll be back on like we didn't miss a beat, and same format as you're used to, and we'll continue keeping things going. We feel like it's important, and if you feel like it's important and we can make a difference, let's band together. We can't do this alone. Like I need Megan, I need you. And I appreciate you so much. Pray for this endeavor. Will you do that? I know we got some prayer warriors out there that believe in the power of prayer, and you might need some prayer. I'll pray for you if you pray for us. How's that? And even if you can't give, pray. And I believe God will bring the right people together to make For the People more powerful than ever, to reach more people that need to hear the truth. And that's really where